Because there is so much interest in the Optigan Bossa Nova disc as heard in the music from Minecraft called Chirp, I thought I would make a deep dive video into all the background and everything that I have on this particular disc. For those of you who don't know what an Optigan is, it was an early 70s home organ that had a unique way of playing back sound. Most organs at the time made sound through electronic circuits and that sort of thing, or they were little reed organs of various types. The Optigan was different. It was sort of like a hybrid between a record player and an organ, but it didn't play normal vinyl records. It played optical discs, which were encoded with optical film soundtrack, and it had 57 loops of optical film soundtrack to cover chord buttons, little drum loops, and each key on the keyboard, 37-note keyboard. All these sounds were recorded in studios by real musicians and were cut into loops and put on these discs, and you could play a little cha-cha or like a little country tune or a waltz or a bossa nova, and you play the different chords with your left hand. You get a band jamming in whatever musical style the disc was. In the right hand, you would usually get an organ-type sound to play a tune. And it was a total failure. It didn't sell well. People didn't get it. The sound quality was very lo-fi. But of course, these days, we go to it for that very reason, the lo-fi strangeness of it. I have not talked with the guy who did the music for Minecraft about how he came across the Optigan. It's possible he may have used my sample pack that's for sale on my website, optigan.com, link in the description. Or he may just have an Optigan himself and took the sounds from there. In either case, he processed the bossa nova groove a little bit. Sounds like he put it through a chorus pedal or maybe a flanger or something and kind of mangled it a little bit. And not all of the sounds on that Chirp soundtrack piece are from an Optigan. It's only this little bossa nova groove. And so I'm going to go through the history of it and all the lore surrounding it to the extent that I have the information, and I'm kind of the guy that has the information. Okay, so without going into the whole process of how Optigan discs are made and all that, suffice to say that it starts with a studio recording. And the exact source of the studio recording, in this case with the Bossa Nova disc, is slightly unclear, and this gets a little bit nerdy. But I have a picture of the original studio multi-track master tapes. And these tapes, the tapes themselves are long gone. They are in a landfill somewhere. But I have this picture, and the earliest reference to the Bossa Nova disc is right here on tape number 30, and you can see there's Bossa Nova there, and the date on this tape is it's dated 1269. Where is it? There it is. 1269. So December of 69. Now this is a little bit confusing because the catalog number on the disc itself has information about the date and the session and everything, and the catalog number is 70009, which would normally indicate that it was recorded in 1970, and it was the 9th session recorded in 1970. So I don't know if they just fudged the numbers or if this was a different Bossa Nova recording that they made earlier that got scrapped. In either case, that information is a little bit vague, but it was recorded no later than 1970. And some of the Optigan material from this time going into 1971 was recorded in Germany. I don't believe this is one of those sessions. If it really was recorded in 1969, it definitely was not one of those German sessions. So I don't know who's playing on this disc. That's all the information I have on that. Here's another picture from the archives of these. Now these are these are called the mag masters, which is on mag striped film, and this was sort of the final stage before transferring to the disc format. And you could see number 009 there is Bossa Nova. Again, these no longer exist. They're in a landfill somewhere, but I do have the 1/4-inch mixdown tapes, and here is the tape that contains the 1/4-inch mixdown of Bossa Nova. You can see there's a number of different ones up there, but the last one on the list is Bossa Nova. Now, and this is dated May of 1970. So I'm not going to play the actual tape. Oh wait, hang on. Got this wrong way around. I'm not going to play the actual tape. These tapes are fragile. The splices tend to break, but that's what the tape looks like. And I've got it up on the computer here in digital form. This is just the Bossa Nova part of the tape, and we can listen to a little bit of this. It's just going to be straight out of my speakers here, so the quality isn't going to be the very best, but you can hear what the session sounds like.
Bossa Nova 1.
4, 1, 2.
Okay, it keeps going. Then we switch over to the minor chords, which I don't think Chirp uses any of the minor chords, but I could be wrong.
Bossa Nova minor chords.
2.
Okay, you get the idea with that. And then towards the end here, we got some diminished chords and other miscellaneous things.
2.
And
Put them farther apart.
G.
Roy, repeat the C.
Repeat the C. Okay, here we go. C.
Do it again, please.
C. Once more. C.
okay, and that's all I increased the gain on all the studio banter. There's not a whole lot of banter on this particular one, but you know, that's what we got. And you can see in the right channel, that's the click track. So, you know, they had to keep everything in time for these things. Timing was very crucial. Okay, so now this is like the raw studio session where you hear the band jamming on each chord for a while, and then they switch to another chord. But for the disc, for each chord, they chose the best 1-bar loop, and they pulled it out of this and edited it onto another tape, which you see right here. Final cutting. Let's see, I think the notes are inside this one. There we go. And again, you've got a number of different discs on this tape, but there's Bossa Nova number 009. And I'm also not going to play the actual tape itself. You can see all of the leader and splices on this one. It would just be every time I play these tapes, and I don't play them often, it's just a nightmare of repairing dead splices and all kinds of stuff. So it's best that we just leave the tape alone. There's some other ephemera in here. I'm not sure. I haven't looked through this. I don't think there's anything relating to Bossa Nova here. But so these are the actual 1-bar loops that made it onto the final disc. And so we'll switch over to this other file and listen to some of those. So you can see that these are all the different percussion loops over here at the beginning, and then it goes through the chords, and then there's some more additional alternate percussion loops. But the chords that you will recognize from Chirp are I believe the C chord and the F chord. So here's the C chord, and I'm going to loop it. And then it switches to the F chord. And so these are all the sounds that made it onto the disc itself. So we're gonna move on to that. Hang on, I gotta do some kind of a maneuver here. Get this stuff out of the way. Okay. Here's a sealed copy of the final product with the artwork and everything. You can pause the video and read the notes on it if you want. And now here's the thing. I don't have a real Optigan setup in the studio right now to play this, so we're gonna do the next best thing, which is to play it on a Panoptigan, which is our modern recreation of the disc playing technology. It's just in a MIDI controlled compact unit instead of an ugly brown organ, and it's much more reliable and all that. So here is a copy of the Bossa Nova disc. I'm doing this kind of one-handed here. Bossa Nova Style. This is Rev K, which is, I think so, Rev K. Yeah, so the discs came in different, yeah, it's Rev K. This is the final revision of this disc. Most of the discs had a few different revisions over the production time, where you get where they kind of improved it a little bit, and you get sometimes different percussion loops and stuff. I'm not entirely sure which disc revision was used on the Chirp piece, but you know, I normally go with Rev K because it's the last revision, and so probably the best sounding one. Okay, so let's do another maneuver here, get this thing on the Panoptigan. We gotta take the lid off. And we put the disc on. Hit start, and now we have this little MIDI controller that replicates the chord buttons. I don't have a keyboard set up because the keyboard sound from the Bossa Nova disc was not used on the Chirp piece, only the chord buttons. So that's this. That's pretty much that. Now, there was another Bossa Nova recording made for the Optigan back in the day called Fast Bossa Nova that was never actually issued on a disc. There were lots of different sessions that, for whatever reason, they didn't make into discs back in the day, but we've been making new discs for the Optigan for many years now, and finally put that one out just recently on disc. So you can get that now. And actually, I think it's a better Bossa Nova, or it's a more upbeat, fun Bossa Nova than the Bossa Nova Style disc. Check the link in the description and you can hear a demo of that. Back in around 1996, 1997, I started a band called Optigan Yours, which the whole idea of it was to use the Optigan to record songs with and perform live and all that kind of stuff. And we had a song called Patio, which uses the Bossa Nova disc. So if you're a fan of Chirp, you might like our song Patio that came out in 1997. And I think I'll end this video by playing that song. So hope you found this informative, and if you have any additional questions about any of this, ask away in the comments.